Kviečiu Antaną Dagelį, Cloud Architects vadovą, kurio tema Idėja architektūroje, technologijų variklis.
Sveiki visi. Buvo pasakyta, kad turėsim užsienio svečių, tai pabandysiu angliškai savo pristatymą dėstyti. My topic today is I'm an architect, so I'm not a technology company representative. So what topic I wanted to discuss with you is what drives technology, especially in construction field. So basically we have two periods in our history. Everything that was until 20th century and new modern era. In last 5,000 years of our civilization, basically, if you disagree, please shout. We had three major triggers which pushed the technology in construction field. One field was military aspect, war. Second was religion. We wanted to worship God as better as possible. Third one was aristocratic prestige, which everyone who had money wanted to live in more elaborate houses, more convenient, etc. So why war was a factor? So obviously to get rich 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, you have to go and take something from your neighbor. So we invented a lot of killing machines, from trebuchets to iron-piercing crossbows. And for us architects, the challenge was to create something to protect us. So we designed all kinds of castles, big fortification systems, until, of course, so the human decided we need better guns. So they decided cannons, gunpowder, until it all evolved, until we reached the 20th century. We had two big catastrophic wars. And so from basically 1950, the military technology is no more a factor that triggers construction, because you can't hide against F-22s or B-2 bombers. But for basically 5,000 years of our civilization, one of the key aspects which we still use in nowadays was the idea that fortification construction technology created issues for the designers how to solve those problems. You need a thick wall. Thick wall is a big bearing load. You need to design foundations. You don't have modern day technology, so how you solve it? So all those solutions really pushed forward the construction technology, and it helped us to evolve. Second part was religion. We started from basically 5,000 years ago, Stonehenge, which even now scientists are kind of disputing how they build it with no technology. Second presentation today was about the glass facades. So first Abba Sujet, this is of course Wells Cathedral, not Saint Denis, but decided that in a place of worship we need big windows, because light represents God. So the more bigger windows we have, the better atmosphere in the church is gonna be. So the challenges we are talking today, how to make six meter height windows, basically were discussed 900 years ago. Then first Gothic cathedrals appeared. At the time it was considered modern, but somebody decided it's barbaric, and that's why it's called Gothic art. Another push forward was that also ambition of wealthy cities and wealthy families to, as I said, everyone wanted to please the gods as much as possible, so everyone wanted to do bigger and bigger structures. So this is Il Duomo in Florence. For several decades it was not finished until Medici family hired one genius called Filippo Brunelleschi, who decided find a solution how to build a dome largest at that moment in the world without any scaffolding. So what I'm trying to make a point here is that ambition from the client point of view drove the technology of construction in historic times. I don't know how many of you still go to church every Sunday. You can raise hands, but I think that's not a factor anymore. The religion does not have such a big space in our society at the moment. That's why it's not anymore a trigger for technology. Then, of course, prestige of the state, as I mentioned in the beginning. Then our aristocracy built bigger and bigger houses. Wanted to live more comfortably from the castles you've seen before. They wanted bigger windows. So all the technologies from water supply to electricity basically first appeared in the palaces, and then in some shape and form it went back to our houses in more modest way and means. So, but basically at the moment we don't have aristocratic societies anymore, or they are as humble as possible, don't want to trigger any revolutions. As I said, the weapons we have no longer, they are so powerful that we cannot build structures to protect ourselves from them. Religion is not a key factor to contribute arts anymore. So what are the triggers of modern era? So what are major challenges what we have at the moment is and what is really the main driver of all technology, what in construction especially, is the global challenge, the climate change. We saw the beautiful house in Maldives, but I don't know if somebody had been in Maldives like 12 years ago, we had like beautiful coral reefs. If you go now, I would say 60–70% of shallow reefs are bleached, dead. So really, we have those issues that if we don't tackle them today, maybe in 20 years, we will simply lose a lot of things which we now enjoy. So polar bears, this is a real picture, not photoshopped. They lose hunting grounds because of melting ice. Water levels are growing up. Corals are dying. Deserts expanding and expanding. We don't feel that very much in Lithuania, but still we are part of global society, and everybody has to do something to improve our environment, and that's why new requirements, which also apply in our country, are designed like energy efficiency, sustainability, etc., which drives the technology, which creates new products and which helps us to create something which makes our climate-friendly buildings. Second major factor, I would say, is competitive market, which also is a huge factor. One factor is that our clients, for an architect, they come and say, I want design, but I want better than the previous one of my company, or I want better than my competitor design, in all kinds of aspects. More sustainable, more efficient, more impressive. All these kind of things are taken into factor, and it gives us the idea to move forward and propose more interesting ideas and more advanced solutions. Half companies, technology companies who are today presenting new technologies, basically next year probably be, or different or the same, but they'll be presenting new products. And those new products, basically, they are answer to the other competitors inventing something new. So that's why it's, I think the competition and fair competition is really the big improvement. And we lived in Soviet era, basically architecture was kind of stagnated for, I don't know, 50 years, because it was all, you know, we lived in the same houses, the same blocks, and it was, we didn't have market economy, and it really didn't move very much the technology. Somebody will disagree, but you know, Soviet technology were not as good as German or except military or let's say United States. So this competition creates, you know, various challenges. In this picture, I kind of took example, glass versus concrete. We had an era that everyone wanted to live in a glass building because it gives a lot of natural light. You have beautiful view, but with energy efficiency requirements, we started to design small and smaller windows. But then everything changed again. We had double facade technology, which allows us now to basically have, again, glass buildings with lots of natural light, which again fights with other facade systems, and I would say now is also very popular. As I mentioned before, the need for iconic buildings is also another driver. Like it was religious buildings, some companies or some clients want really recognizable design, which really makes us think, how do we approach? And so we have here a Lithuanian one project, which if you see it, everyone knows what it is. That's example of iconic architecture that everybody, you like it or you hate it, but you recognize what's inside. Other things which helps us to adopt is changing requirements. As I mentioned, we went from energy efficiency G to passive house, which together with all the technology companies and suppliers makes us evolve and create more and more, come up with new solutions how we do things. Also, probably the major factor in the last 10 years is the changing consumer habits. Banks are changing, retail is changing, our way of work is changing. So these are factors which I would not even, I know that next topic will be about the future architecture, but really if you ask me what's going to be in 20 years with our office spaces, I will not answer you, because really we don't know how technology and the way we think, virtual reality, all these things are going to move. But that's a factor which really we have to be aware, and it's really important. That's a question always asked, to BIM or not to BIM. So as a studio ourselves, we take into consideration a couple of factors. How we approach technology. One thing is using modern tools. So BIM is the most modern at the moment tool which you can use if you design buildings. Some will argue to me that BIM doesn't help you to create good ideas. Yeah, it doesn't help you think, but it helps you to make design faster, solve certain problems faster. So I will show you some of our recent work. We chose 4 basically office buildings, which in the same, they are all the same from functional point of view, but they're completely different from the aesthetic point of view. So this is the office building in Lvovo Street in, let's say, Konstitucijos main business district. Then we design and approach office space, I agree with that. You need natural light, you need good acoustics, you need good energy efficiency, you need to feel well. But also one factor which we think is that when you sit all the time in the office, you need to change your environment. So all our buildings that we design, we try to add certain element, and this is atrium design, which basically allows our consumer who will work in our design buildings to change the environment from small volume to enter the big volume. And this is a factor which allows us to play with our architecture because, for example, this is quite simple, a rectangular shaped atrium. This is the other building which is nearly finished. It's the same standard office, but then in this design we chose oval-shaped atrium, which creates completely different emotion about the building. So again, this is an element which helps us to create different kind of feeling, emotion, but at the same time we have the same functionality. I will not repeat that everything, all the projects we do it in BIM. We also use algorithms for more difficult places where you need to I will just move forward and explain in one of the buildings specifically. This is the latest, also my colleague presented one of the competition entries. This is the winning design of Bank of Lithuania headquarters. So what we did with this design, we decided to let's do something new with the atrium. So the idea was to also switch somehow, not to create some kind of inner yard, but to create different volume, different space with different character, which gave the building completely different emotion. So basically you have the kind of mountain feeling inside, and I think that was what gave the quite iconic image of this new building. We hope it's going to be a new landmark for the institution. Other building, other design was Vilnius courthouse complex, and here it's also basically apart from first and ground floor you have office building. So as a kind of scale design, we decided to have this cone-shaped volume, and if we didn't have modern technology, algorithms will help us to really model each piece of glass. I don't think that will be possible nowadays, or would take, I don't know, 3-4 years to design such a structure. So using modern technology really helps us, modern tools of modern technology helps us to come up or dare to propose certain designs which are not, let's say, very traditional, I would say. This is the interior shots of courthouse. So that's my presentation. Thank you. Also, I have still 1 minute, so please ask questions.
Taip, prašau auditorijai. Ar sutinkate su tokiu architektūros evoliucijos vertinimu visų pirma? Nesigirdėjo prieštaraujančių. Yra vienas prieštaravimas. Tinginystė.
Dabartiniam taip, tinginystė yra svarbus aspektas. Tai mes vat, ir kartais klausau prezentacijų ir atrodo, kad ar tęsti angliškai, turbūt lietuviškai, kad dabar mes gyvenam blogiausiai, lyginant su mūsų visos civilizacijos 5000 metų, kad mes sergam daugiausiai, mes mažiausiai šviesos gaunam ir taip toliau, ir taip toliau. Tai taip nėra, bet kad va, tas tinginystės faktorius matyt lemia tos visus susirgimus, tai tiesa.
Galbūt tinginystės faktorius lemia architektūros vystymosi šiais laikais. Ankstesniais laikais tinginystės faktorius galbūt kaip tik stabdė architektūros pažangą, ne? Gulėjimo po palmę prasme.
Taip greitai viskas tilps va čia ir užsidėsim virtualius sakinius ir nukeliausim į Maldyvus ir
Turbūt Cloud Architects jaunieji architektai tingi 4 metus braižyti kiekvieną langelį atskirai būsimajam teismo administracijos pastate ir
todėl susirandam technologiją, kaip padaryti tai greičiau.
Kągi, puiku.